Hi.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another installment of TEDXcellence, the show where I am not giving financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. And I come to you live from Crater Valley on the moon with Dog, Cat, Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Thursday. Tempestuous Thursday. Yes, we return once again to the wonderful world of off-brand TED Talks. I forgot to mention in the chat. Yes, tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. Apologies. I got caught up in something else, and I was kind of rushing there at the last minute to get everything put together, and I forgot to put the note in the chat about tonight's bingo card. So a free preview. Tonight's bingo card is bingo card C. Links to the bingo cards are in the description. And before I get into tonight's subject, which has a relatively lengthy preamble to it I have to give, who's joining me on this beautiful Thursday evening? Walter Tomaszewski. Good evening. I mentioned streaming to my cats. They said, that's what daddy's something does something. I don't read emoji as well as I used to. They're adding too many. It's so difficult to catch up these days. So I'll assume it was something funny. In fact, just to cover my bases, because I am a generous streamer. I'm sure it was great. I'm terrible. Avdigas Diavoli. Good evening. Who else is here? Kieverdam, hello. And Kieverdam, thank you so much as always for providing the links to the fundraisers. Guys, at the top of the chat box, we have fundraisers for our friends Twisted Skipster and Angela Arriaga. Twisted Skipster is looking to start a wrestling club for his daughter and her classmates, and Angela is starting her own home-based business. Please take a look at those when you have the opportunity. If you can donate, please do so. But even if you can't, if you can share those out on social media, that would be appreciated. So thank you ahead of time for that. And thank you, Kieverdam, as always, for providing the links. Funtime Bats, good evening. John Trioxin, hello. Pandemonious Panda, good evening. Who else is here? Alexander, good evening. Mykar, good evening. Kiro Soldier, hello. Derek LaRue, holy cats, Derek. Thank you so much as always for your continued support and generosity. Very much appreciated. Hope you're having a good evening, and I hope you enjoy the show. Lunatic. Luna, good evening. Who else is here? Anybody else? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Alice Morgan, good evening. Shadowcat, good evening. Have you walked through any walls recently, Shadowcat? Were they good walls? Pissed Off Shih Tzu, good evening. Anybody else? Lurking Gopher is no longer lurking, made themselves known. Keldrig, hello. Neon Leon. And now there's a name I haven't said in a while. Neon Leon. Good gravy. That's bringing back all sorts of echoes in my memory. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Corey Suzuki, hello. And Kieverdam is spamming. Because, I guess that's what you do now. Oh, yeah, the leaderboard. Hey, guys, the leaderboard. I looked into this some more. I got another little notice from YouTube, a little email telling me about all the benefits of the leaderboard. Thus far, the benefits are you get a crown, and that's it. It's bragging rights and incentive to participate in the chat. So there you go. That's about it, I guess. Unless or until they add something else to it. There you go. Right now, if you care, and maybe you do, Kiro Soldier's in the number 1 spot along with Advocatus Diaboli in number 2 and Mike R. number 3. Everybody else is trailing, if you care. Also, Mitch the Ripper, good evening. Angelverse, hello. And the Luke Skywalker, too. Hello. All right, so if I missed anybody, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good evening. All right, so a bit of an explanation ahead of time and a bit of a disclaimer before we start tonight's episode. Veterans of the channel may recall that from time to time, TEDx Talks have been used as platforms for sales pitches. In fact, we have a square on the bingo card called Sales Pitch for Product or Service. And we say product or service specifically because, let's be honest, nearly every TEDx talk in some way, shape, or form is a sales pitch, usually for an idea or an argument or a solution to a problem and so on. But once in a blue moon, we come across one where it is practically undeniable that this TEDx talk is being used to actually push a specific product or service. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes the speaker starts out by saying, I've been in this career for 20 years helping businesses do XYZ PDQ. And then they go through their talk talking about whatever their subject matter is. They may never say the name of their consulting firm, but, they're probably going to take the recording of this TEDx talk and use it for promotional purposes for their own business. So, sometimes it's much more blatant. Sometimes it's NF trees, or female hiking pants with a zipper in the back, or algorithms to help you vote, or grandpa. If you recognize any of those names or concepts, then you are a long-time viewer of the channel. But either way, those were all talks where there was no doubt by the time you got about halfway through them that this was definitely pitching a product or a service. Now, here's the differential for tonight's subject. More often than not, I can't say always, I haven't seen every TEDx talk, I've seen a lot of them. More often than not, finding out that a TEDx talk is a pitch for some kind of business or product or something, you find out as you watch. It is not often the case that a title of a talk tells you ahead of time, or at least indicates heavily. I have to couch myself here because I have not watched this yet. I have not watched this talk yet, so I don't know what's going to be said, but it heavily indicates from this title, before I even watch it, that it's about pitching a product or a service. Now, to understand why I say this, I'm going to show you how this talk appeared to me when I found it. And it is the combination of the thumbnail and the title of the talk. So here's how it looked. Now, for those of you listening at home, the thumbnail posted to the TEDx YouTube page has text on it, and the text says, "Buying real estate without being rich." And the title of the presentation says, "How I Turned $500 into Six-Figure Freedom." Okay, so that's how it appeared to me when I found it. Now, if you take away the TEDx branding and the context within that, and I thought to myself, if I saw this just sort of posted on my feed or as a recommended video or something, I would assume, and I think I could be forgiven for assuming so, I would assume this is a promotional video for some kind of multi-level marketing setup or something. And so, however, in the context of a TEDx talk, I found it odd and it jumped out at me. It's like, is this an actual sales pitch without any reservations? So, that's what caused me to pick this one. And now for the disclaimer, which I feel like I have to put out there. Because even as I was setting up this broadcast with my own thumbnail and title, that I've gotten into the habit of changing the title of my broadcast to be different enough from the original TEDx that there's no confusion that I'm trying to copy or carry over their work or something, that it is a different setup. My hesitation was, I don't want my broadcast to be thought of as well promoting a business or something. So I tried to couch my thumbnail with a, presumably, or apparently or something in the parenthetical, and also a question mark in my own title, and supposedly. Because, as I said at the top, this is whatever this lady says. If I agree with it, if I disagree with it, or elsewise, this is not me giving financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. Now, to be fair, this talk could just be one glorified anecdote about how our speakers slipped on a banana peel and $500 fell out of their pocket, and suddenly they had a real estate empire worth six figures. It could be something as simple as that. Not knowing that, I want to give at least enough clarity before I begin so that nobody has any illusions about my motivations or elsewise. So there's the long introduction. Also, Keeverdam, thank you so much. Den Mother and Spammer. Well, I guess you've added to your curriculum vitae. Congratulations, Keeverdam. Also, I believe that your super chat gets you XP on the leaderboard, if that's important to you. A few more hellos here, and then we'll get into it. Daryl Odell, good evening. Also, hey, Midnight's Edge raid. Hopefully everyone from Midnight's Edge. Am I losing my ability to speak? Am I having aphasia or something? Am I going through a stroke? Let's try that again. I hope everyone from Midnight's Edge enjoyed that show and will as well enjoy this show. Mr. X, good evening. Devil Fruit Zero, hello. Who else is here? Resolute Germ, hello. Tony Giff, good evening. Anybody else? Ostan, hello. Daryl Brewer, hello. We have Mead Raid, The Dead Man, good evening. Spoonie the Rebel, hello. And Tom Connors himself with a salute. Hi, Tom. All right, so that all being said, everyone, get your bingo cards ready. Bingo card C as in This Old House. That was the winner of the best real estate reality TV show that was on the bingo poll on X today. If you'd like to take part in the bingo poll each week, follow me on X at @scribe_light. And there will be a link to the Discord server as well later on. All right, so all that being said, going to start off with a few seconds for a sound test. This talk clocks in at just under 16 minutes, so let's get going. Let me know if you hear this, and we will proceed. Oh, I don't want the music cue. I always get wary of the music they put at the top because I don't want to get claimed for that. Something stupid. Okay.
I want to tell you about a love story.
Okay, as long as it's not Twilight.
So I was at this bar on a Tuesday night.
A Tuesday night? No, wait, it's Thursday. Never mind. I was going to say. Let me get my chat all set up here. Everybody hear that okay? Let me know in the chat. Let's see. Advocast Diabli, we are going to have to ask for that English degree to be returned. It's not my vocabulary that's screwing up. It's somehow between the brain and the mouth. I was going, it's nastios and walnuts. And I haven't even had much of a pepper jack yet, so I can't blame that even.
Getting to know this 65-year-old guy. Now, a few words in, I could already tell he was exactly what I was looking for.
Tell me more.
You see, I was broke and he owned real estate.
Well, I appreciate your candor.
I wanted to invest and he was ready to retire. I was gay and, well, he didn't care.
Okay. I'm about to circle non sequitur.
We were a match made for each other.
Okay.
So that night, one thing led to another, and I bought his triplex with only $500 out of pocket.
You bought a triplex for $500. Okay, what's the catch? What is the catch? The triplex was a burnt-out husk. It was a stash house or something like what?
A purchase that made me a millionaire in my 30s.
That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Now, before I share the juicy details of how that went down, let me take you back in time with me.
Oh boy, do you have a flux capacitor?
So it's 2009 and I'm 21 years old. I'm sitting at a dinner table drinking Zinfandel and eating filet mignon with 7 of my roommates.
Okay, that coughing wasn't because of what she was saying. It's coughing because I took a bit too much of a swig there. I probably need it though. All right, this is a practice presentation. Boy, the charisma is just oozing off of our speaker.
As we did most nights, celebrating, we did it. We just graduated into the worst economy in almost 100 years.
Oh my God.
Tanked by banks handing out loans to, well, anyone with a pulse. So instead of full steam ahead into our careers, we steamed cappuccinos at Starbucks.
Sounds about right. How is your student loan debt?
And yet, night after night, we ate like kings and queens.
Because you're fiscally irresponsible?
How did we do it?
Credit?
Well, we got all that delicious food straight out of the dumpster.
What have I walked into?
Now, before you judge me,
Too late.
hear me out.
I am.
This was perfectly good food.
Yeah. Perfectly good dumpster food.
Still frozen, mostly. Tossed out days before the expiration date.
Okay.
No? All right, I get it.
Yeah, okay. Susanna Al-Rashard would explain why this sounds like garbage. Yeah. Midnight's Edge, this is a fucking train. Yeah, we're not even like, 2 minutes into this thing? Yeah, barely 2 minutes into this. This is something else. Davina Duckworth, hello. Talk about a trash pander. Oh! Dead man, is she a raccoon? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's on her job description. Okay. Hey, okay, let's pause for a second, go over the bingo card, remind ourselves what we're looking for. Remember, this is bingo card C. Bingo cards are linked in the description. Okay, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Not yet. Word salad. We're getting there. Mind reading or assumes motives. Did she already say something like, I know what you're thinking, or don't judge me, or so? Yeah, she did. I'll wait a bit. I mean, if she's done it 2 times, she'll do it a 3rd time. Oh, Keeverdam, thank you again. She's like a raccoon. Those animals who are invading my garbage. Well, I mean, I guess starving college grads have to do what they have to do, I guess. I guess. Thank you, Keeverdam. JPS, good evening. Yes, back to the bingo card. A list, not yet. Marginalized or marginalization, not so far. Patriarchy, no. Contradicts own point or fails to make argument, don't know what it is yet. Feminism, no. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase, not so far. Systemic or institutional, no, not yet. Anecdote that probably never happened. Given how she's talking about dumpster diving, I believe it so far. White supremacy, no. Childhood or family anecdote. Nah, college graduation isn't childhood or family. Leaves out vital context. We'll wait and see. Weightless example or non sequitur? Possibly. Sales pitch for product or... I'm still waiting. I need to have something named, or a book, or a pamphlet, or a process, or something. Privilege? No. Collectivize his own demographic? Well, she said she and her friends entered the worst economy, but that's not a demographic. That's just her and her group. Self-vilification or wretchedness. This dumpster diving might qualify. Let's see what she does with it. Economic disparity. Yes, going to circle that one because she brought up the lax economy back in 2009 or thereabouts. Benevolent condescension, we'll see. Plays victim, not sure yet. Deceptive statistics, no statistics yet. And lastly, microaggressions or unconscious bias, not that I know of yet. But we're only 2 minutes into a 16-minute talk. So far on the board, we have free space and economic disparity. Keep your cards ready for possible other squares. Frosted Glass, thank you so much. She thinks she's hilarious, and I long for death. Yeah, laughing at your own jokes. I mean, she's amazingly chipper. She's amazingly chipper. I'll give her that.
Get it. My parents didn't understand either. They even got mad. It was like, Mom, can't you see? I'm turning debris into charcuterie.
Well, you know, I think it's a good thing that some elderly, soused up 65-year-old handed you $1 million bonanza, because you really shouldn't quit your day job if you had one.
Now, don't worry, my TED Talk is not how to dumpster dive your way to riches, but...
You know, I'd watch that TED Talk.
This story illustrates the first lesson I want to share with you.
The first lesson, that sounds like the beginning of a list circling a list. Oh boy.
And I created this complex mathematical formula to prove my point.
Okay.
I learned that community plus creativity could save us some money.
There are several ways to interpret that equation in a not so legal sense, depending on the context. But continue. Oh, hit the button.
At least on our grocery bill.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is a lesson I'm going to build on later, so keep it in mind.
Uh-huh.
In the meantime, why would someone who can't even afford groceries even think about buying real estate?
That is a good question. But again, unless or until we know exactly the circumstances around how you paid $500 for a piece of real estate worth, as you said, $1 million at least to make you a millionaire simply on paper, I don't know. Dill Fruit Zero, thank you so much. Only the Lord of Punishment can do puns. That's true. This lady is horning in on my territory. Sort of like that Japanese moon landing thing that failed today. Dog Cat Fox took care of that, an interloper. Right, Dog Cat Fox? Wowie, wow, wow. That's right. Dog Cat Fox saw that space probe coming down onto my lawn and said, no! Denied. Anyway, not to date this broadcast, but that did happen.
Well, my dad inspired me.
Did he?
A hard-working roofer for 50 years. I mean, he can fix just about anything. Like, for my 16th birthday, we bought this old, beat-up 65 Mustang together.
Oh, sounds like a family or childhood anecdote circling that one on the board. 1 second here. Circle that, and then click on that. There we go. All right.
We worked on that car for years until it was purring like a kitten.
So your father taught you the virtues and respect of hard work. Okay.
I'll never forget one day when I was 23 years old, Dad and I were working on that car, when Dad forgot the name of his favorite burger spot. Frightening, because nobody forgets In-N-Out Burger.
You know, I just saw something today about In-N-Out Burger. It was something like, some friendships never last, but In-N-Out Burger will always be there. Something like that.
A few weeks later, the doctors confirmed my 67-year-old father had Alzheimer's.
Hey. Yeah, I just read a story, was it just yesterday? Drew Struzan, the very famous artist who did so many memorable posters for movies and TV shows and things. His Alzheimer's has reached a point where he can no longer paint or draw, which is absolute tragedy for society. So my sympathies to our speaker.
I mean, are you kidding me? Dad's our rock. He's our breadwinner. In my blue-collar, middle-class family, we weren't prepared for that.
No one is. Insidious disease. I really hope they actually find a treatment and or a cure, because, man, I'm in the firing line based on my family's history, which I'm not. I got to tell you, I am not jazzed about. I mean, the only sort of ray of hope that I have at this point is just the absolute mental resilience of my father. At his age, and given the circumstances he is under right now with leukemia, his mind is still as sharp as a tack. And I'm not talking Joe Biden by Democrats sharp as a tack. I'm talking about an actual sharp as a tack. So, fingers crossed, knock Formica.
I mean, we lived paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm. You were 23. Did you not go and get a job?
Turns out as Dad's disease progressed, it would cost us $7,000 a month to take care of him.
Yeah. There's no humor or facetiousness on my part here. This is a reality. This is a reality, and not a fun one, obviously.
I mean, what about his Social Security? Not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Medicare? They said no. I mean, what does it cost to retire in America today?
Arguably too much. Now, not to sound cold-hearted, because I know it might come across like that, but I am mightily curious to know how our speaker's story of family tragedy, which it is going to connect to the subject matter of the talk. Because I really hope it's not a distraction, and I really hope it's not just being laid out for the sake of emotional manipulation. I guess time will tell. And I can't help but be wary.
My family needed over $1 million to take care of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And with so many American families struggling like mine, I gotta wonder, where is all the money going?
All the money going? I don't know. What decisions have you made to earn some?
Well, where else would it go? To corporation owners.
It's the CEO's fault. Okay. Now, again, this is kind of a tenuous area to start criticizing. It's like, well, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, Alzheimer's is a horrendous disease, and care for someone suffering from it, you probably need 24-hour care, basically. Either to have someone take care of them or to have to put them somewhere, unfortunately. And that's not cheap. It's true. And the social safety net for the worst cases like this is sometimes far too thin. But where are we going with this, I have to ask?
Get this. In 2018, the top 3 richest people in our country had more wealth than the bottom half of our entire nation.
That does not mean that they have stuff you cannot attain through your own work. It's not like there's a limited amount of money. What does that have to do with anything?
It's hard being on the bottom.
I apologize. Third grade humor taking over there for a second. Those of you who know, and I don't have to explain it to you.
All the time.
Yeah.
And growing up with such gross inequality like this, I thought I only had 2 options.
Gross inequality. Okay, again, setting aside the lightning bolt from the heavens, so to speak, of Alzheimer's, what are you talking about? You described your father as a hard worker, a roofer, an auto mechanic, and so on. And then you went to college. I'm curious to know who paid for that, and as a result of that, you decided to work at Starbucks and dumpster dive. Okay, I mean...
Either be a capitalist pig and take advantage of people in order...
Be a capitalist pig and take advantage of people. Your opening story at least implied that you took advantage of an elderly man at a bar for a bonanza of financial wealth you did not earn, but were basically handed. What are you talking about?
In order to get ahead, or work hard, stay broke, but be a decent person.
Work hard, stay broke, and okay, well, which path did you choose?
And my family's financial crisis got me thinking.
Uh-huh.
What if things aren't so binary?
Well, what if Dr. Doom was the Sorcerer Supreme? Oh, not so binary. Is that an innuendo?
I had to find a way to help my family without harming other people.
Help your family with that? Well, that sounds decent, yes.
And at this point, I was 27 years old.
You were 27 years old. Okay, so you were nigh on 10 years out from being a legal adult. Uh-huh.
Dad's disease was progressing, and I'm stressing because police found him miles from home.
Uh-huh.
Wandering alone.
Okay, again, I will not make light of the aftermath and the consequences of Alzheimer's. But this constant callback to it from our speaker, I don't want to feel like I'm being manipulated here.
My family was running out of options.
Uh-huh.
Fortunately, I just started my lucrative career as a social worker.
Perhaps you should have made different choices in your education and career pathways. But okay. I'm very curious to know, and I may not find out, what our speaker went to college for. What degree did she get?
So I did what any millennial would do, trying to solve a major life crisis. I rolled up my sleeves and I Googled it.
You know, on the one hand, she wants sympathy from me on the basis of her father's disease, which she has. On the other hand, she wants me to laugh along with her undercutting her own viability to support him. I can't do both.
how to build wealth, which led me to buying real estate. Now,
Did you go to school for this? Did you get your realtor's license? Anything like that? I mean, did you take demonstrable, tangible steps to know what you were doing before you went off on this venture?
Now, I read all the books and listened to the top podcasts, all while I worked overtime for a year at my job, saving up for my down payment.
I'm guessing the answer is no, unless you're about to tell us you went and got your realtor's license.
My social work buddies, they teased me. They called me Zillow. But joke's on them, because a few months later, I found a duplex that even I could afford.
A duplex that you could afford to buy?
And I could fix it up with the money I had left, enough to sell it for a profit, enough to take care of my dad for an entire year.
Wait. Okay, now I'm hoping that she's going to tell us, but how? How did you save up the money to buy a duplex? Admittedly, I don't know how much your average duplex costs in, where does this take place? I didn't even notice. Which is this? South Lake Tahoe. Okay, so Nevada. Yeah, okay. I have so many questions.
I couldn't wait to tell him the good news. But before I could book my ticket home, my sister called me instead.
Okay, I'm sorry. The sudden quaver in your voice of sad emotion, I don't buy, since this entire thing so far has been a performance. It has not sounded sincere. So now you're all but telling me, in giant neon letters, emotional manipulation. And that kind of irritates me, especially when using the story of your father suffering from a disease that I have some personal connection to in experience. I don't like that. I really don't like that.
She said Dad had taken a turn for the worse. And I was too late. Mm-hmm. He was dying.
Again, on the one hand, I have nothing but sympathy. On the other hand, I'm having my heartstrings tugged, and I can feel it. Keldrig, thank you so much. I always wondered how vicious mockery worked in D&D. How can words physically damage you? Well, the jokes in this talk have shown me exactly how. Now, vicious mockery, that's basically saying muad'Dib, but in a, sarcastic and critical way. Because, his name is a killing word, as we know. Yeah, D&D, vicious mockery, like just, it's like weaponized obnoxiousness. Thank you, Keldrick, appreciate it. Okay, so as your eyebrows arch upwards and your eyes move up as though they were welling with tears, but I see no moisture whatsoever, do tell.
Days later, I sat at my dad's hospital bedside.
I'm counting the seconds to see how long this emotional outburst lasts before it completely vanishes.
Holding his hand one last time. In shock. I felt outraged. This is not how the story was supposed to end.
Well, then maybe you should have spent some time you were researching real estate to find out how Alzheimer's works. I know, I'm being critical and probably unfair. But, either way.
Work hard for 50 years, live paycheck to paycheck with no retirement?
Alzheimer's does not care. It doesn't care. From the poorest person to the richest zillionaire, it does not care.
My dad's death taught me that hard work isn't enough to retire in America anymore.
You're right. You're right. It isn't enough all on its lonesome. It's also about making wise financial decisions over the course of your adult life. But even that is no guarantee. Because you could be struck down with Alzheimer's, and all of that saving and all that careful planning could go completely down the toilet. But that's life, unfortunately. And there isn't a country on this planet whose economic system is this, that, or the other compared to America that can save you from Alzheimer's. So, you and your family have my sympathy. And you're correct, it's not about hard work alone, but that's part of it. It's also about making smart choices. What choices did you make in your education that led you to becoming a social worker, a dumpster diver, a Starbucks barista? Anyway.
And if hard work didn't pay off for him in the end, then I wasn't going to go back to work again.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Right?
Okay. Well, all right. Your father worked hard his entire life. He was struck down by an irreversible, completely destructive disease that no one has any particular defense against. So, the example that he set in his life, the value of honest labor and, and honest money, his death means to hell with that. Okay. I mean, that's one lesson to take from it, I suppose.
So what did I do?
Nothing?
With $16,000
What happened to that $500 thing? $16,000, okay.
left to my name?
Left to your name. I bought a house.
I quit my job as a social worker.
Uh-huh.
I was going to become a real estate entrepreneur.
Okay. Well, like I say, that's not inherently a position of scorn. I thought you had already... I thought you'd already bought a duplex. All right. We're skipping around here in some of the storylines. Did you go on to get your realtor's license?
Or go back to dumpster diving.
I guess there are really only two options in life.
One of the two. Just one little problem. How was I supposed to buy more real estate when I didn't have a job? I mean, no bank was going to give me a loan. This wasn't 2007, after all. So naturally, the first thing I did was I spent half my life savings on a real estate boot camp.
Oh, okay, so you actually did get some education. All right.
But here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Oh, what is the thing? Tell me, tell me true.
It worked. And I'm going to share it with you now, but for free.
Why? Why would you be so magnanimous?
For many of us, owning a property feels like a distant dream. My coaching students, they come to me saying, I can't qualify for a loan. Housing is so expensive, not enough for the down payment. Interest rates are too high.
The rent is too damn high.
But all of these problems have one thing in common.
Negative thinking?
The banks.
The banks. Okay, so are we going to debank ourselves?
Here's the big secret.
Oh.
We don't need the banks.
We don't. Oh, guys, we don't need the banks. What happened to the 65-year-old guy you met at a bar who handed you a triplex for $500?
We can do it on our own.
You could, maybe. I guess. Are those dice you want to roll?
Seller financing is when a home buyer pays a seller directly.
Yes, but there are benefits to going through a bank. Yes, that is a thing. Okay.
Instead of using a bank loan, it's like the seller becomes the bank.
If I'm at a Saturday market and I'm selling brownies and someone hands me $2 for a brownie and I hand them a brownie, yeah, that's seller financing. That's just called a direct exchange of goods and services. But here's the thing. Usually people don't have the full amount of money they need to buy the home. That's why they go to the bank for a loan, because most home buyers do not have that kind of cash on hand, especially in today's housing market. So yes, you could do that if someone just had the cash to pay out the asking price of the house at full. They could do that. I mean, you don't need a bank, but oftentimes you don't have it to buy outright. Okay, just a warning here. This is where we're starting to ease into the limits of my knowledge of finance and economics when it comes to these things. I've never bought a home before, and so everything I've got is just sort of like via metaphor or simile as far as my brain can process this. So if there's someone in the chat who knows more about this, and I assume there is, by all means speak up and educate us. Or if you're watching this in the future and want to leave a comment, I'd appreciate that as well. C. Thomas, thank you so much. When she said, look, here's the thing, I was hoping for, look, here's the thing, I love the N-word. Jeez. That escalated quickly. Thanks, C. Thomas. Boy, oh boy. Susanna Ala Richard, I could buy a house in the 90s for around $10,000. In 2007, the last house was about $75,000. Living in that house right now, and it cost me over $1 million. Yeah, housing prices have gone through the, no pun intended, but I'll take it, have gone through the roof in the last 10, 15 years. It's why I'm still apartment living. You know, I look back at the times where I had maybe the opportunity to buy a house, but I always thought that my situation, the location that I was at and everything, was tenuous at best, because it was a very uncertain time back then. At the same time that our speaker's talking about, the 2008, 2009 territory. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen, if I'd have a job, if I'd have to move, if whatever else. And so I chose at what I thought was the safest path, but as time has gone on, things have changed. That's life to you. I don't know what to say. Let's see, Gen T Maxi, to lower the price of homes, you might have to build some, which means fighting the red tape politicians. You would know more details on that than me, Scribe. Well, I mean, insofar as local politics and such, perhaps. But, yeah, no, I mean, it's, well, they're driving the good jobs out of most places these days through taxes. Or they're pricing, this is the kind of thing. In the area in which I live, over the last several years, they have priced homes and rentals higher and higher based on the income of the smallest number of people in the area. And those are like, you know, the tech zillionaires and business. They just assume that everybody's working at Facebook or something, I guess, or Google. And so they just keep raising the prices higher and higher. And of course, the rest of us who aren't working at these giant companies and not making six figures a year or whatever, still have to try to keep pace with the assumption that, oh, well, if you can't afford it, somebody who works at one of the tech companies can. Like, But anyway.
And they keep all of the interest. It's just two people working together, cutting out the middleman.
if there's a middleman to cut out. And if a person has all the cash on hand that you require as the seller, then sure.
The banks. I mean, this is how we bought and sold properties before the banks got involved in the 1930s.
Well, okay, so is this talk about debanking the real estate market? Are you only going to sell people who can afford to buy a house flat out, cash on the barrel? Is that it? Is that your plan?
And some of you are old enough to remember that seller financing was even popular in the 70s and 80s.
Seller financing? Buying something because you have the money on hand to buy it outright. It's always popular. No interest, no debt. What do you, am I just crazy here? Am I just nuts or something? The Dead Man, thank you so much. Here's the thing, but doesn't show the thing. It's clondering time. I'm going to give away a little secret. There's a song called "This Is the Thing" by a band called Fink, if I'm not mistaken. And the lyrics to that song would match up exactly with clips from the movie of John Carpenter's The Thing. If you just look up the song "This Is the Thing" by Fink, listen to those lyrics alone, and then imagine John Carpenter's The Thing, and tell me I'm wrong that you couldn't take key scenes out of that and make a music video, a movie music video out of it. A fan-made, FMV kind of thing. I've never had the opportunity to try it myself because I don't have a digital copy of The Thing, the movie. But it's always in my mind. Whenever I think about that, I just think that'd be perfect. So yeah, do a sort of Dark Side of the Moon, Wizard of Oz kind of thing. Look up that song, listen to the lyrics, and tell me that it's not absolutely perfect backdrop for that song. Perfect. Anyway, that's an aside.
80s.
Okay.
Now, after learning this, I knew I had to find the right seller to partner with me.
The right seller to partner with you? I mean, a seller willing to sell you something for cash on hand? Okay. Frosted Glass, blaming problems on 1930s bankers seems familiar. Yeah. Did you guys know that going through the banks means you're going to have to pay interest? Yeah. That's why it's called a loan, not a gift. Pissed Off Jitsu. Seller financing doesn't work if the seller hasn't paid off the mortgage and needs the proceeds to buy another home. That's also true. But again, it seems as though she hasn't even explained yet how the first duplex was purchased. So again, my timeline in my head of these events is all kind of jumbled.
So I searched high and low in my community. I sent letters to strangers. I called people I didn't even know, which eventually led me to a bar.
Right, the 65-year-old drunk guy willing to sell you a triplex for $500.
With a 65-year-old guy named Kelly on a Tuesday night. I was broke.
I thought you had $16,000.
And Kelly owned real estate.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to invest, and Kelly was ready to retire.
What? Was the duplex thing just a hypothetical? Did I misunderstand something there? Because earlier she said she found a duplex to buy and that she was going to have enough to pay for Dad's care when she got the call that Dad was dying. So what happened to that part of the story? Did I miss this? What?
We were a match made for each other.
He was gullible and you were desperate?
How did I buy his triplex with only $500 out of
I don't know. How did you do that?
my pocket?
Yeah.
Because it was a great deal for Kelly, too. He earned hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. Money I would have just given to the banks.
Wait. What? What? You paid him $500 for a triplex, and he was going to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. What?
And in return, he gave me access to buying property.
What?
Well, at first he wanted $75,000 down.
That sounds markedly more reasonable.
And I didn't have that. I mean, you know me. I like charcuterie.
Yeah, I know you. No, I don't know you. all I know is what you've told me. And what you've told me so far is you don't want to work for a living. You make lousy decisions as far as your education and your financial choices. And you're willing to use the advent of your father's disease and death to try to emotionally manipulate me, the audience. That's all I know about you so far.
So then I said, well, what would it cost for you to foreclose on me? I mean, after all, he was an attorney. And
he was a real estate tycoon attorney. Okay.
So then I said, well, what would it cost for you to foreclose on me? I mean, after all, he was an attorney, and he said $15,000. I said, great, let's make that the down payment. If I don't pay you, you can use my own money to foreclose on me.
Okay. Yeah, like I said before, I have hit my limit on my offhand understanding of finance / real estate and so on. All of this sounds like gobbledygook nonsense, but again, if someone in the chat has a better handle on these things, does any of this sound rational?
And he agreed.
Yeah, your own surprise tells me something.
But you know me.
No, I don't know you.
I didn't have $15,000 either.
Oh, so you lied. Okay. Good gravy. I'm going to okay, going back to the bingo card real quick. I'm going to circle privilege. Previously, she talked about the CEOs having all the money and so on. Also going to circle systemic institutional for the complaints about Medicare and all that good stuff. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to leave it there for the moment. So far on the board, I have circled for sure a list, systemic institutional, childhood or family anecdote, free space, privilege, and economic disparity. I'm sure there are others, but let's get through those.
So he let me raise money with friends until I only paid $500 out of pocket.
Okay, so you had investors, is what you did. Okay.
No bank would do that.
No bank would do that. Did your investors expect a return on said investment? Did they expect some kind of, I don't know, interest or in-kind benefit from their investment? Or did they just gift you the money?
Now, all of this led me to update my prior calculation.
Oh, and I'm so much relying on your math skills so far.
I learned that community plus creativity plus equity means a whole lot of money for all of us.
Okay. This is some commie bullshit right here. You didn't have equity on that equation earlier. Circling diversity, equity, and inclusion on the board. I'm also circling word salad because I may be biased, but all of this sounds like absolute gobbledygook to me so far. Okay, hold on. I have a... Okay. Scribelight, no, she means home equity, I think. Well, okay, all right. I'll take off the diversity, equity, inclusion circle for the moment then. Maybe that's true. That equity is a term used in... Okay, I'll grant you that. All right. But it's still sounding suspicious. Mr. Yes asks, Scribelight, do you have a bingo yet? Nope, not yet. Again, this is bingo card C. So far circled, correction, after Advocatus Diaboli's comment, we have circled on bingo card C, word salad, a list, systemic or institutional, childhood or family anecdote, free space, privilege, and economic disparity. So we're not quite there to a bingo yet, but all right.
And using this equation, I co-created more of these types of win-win partnerships. I bought folks' properties, rented them out, and we split the profits. In just 5 years after quitting my day job as a social worker, I had built 6-figure financial freedom for myself.
Okay. Still waiting for the other shoe to drop on this one.
While also helping a handful of neighbors retire in the process.
Part of me is just sounds too good to be true. But as Advocatus Diaboli points out, she became a landlord. Yeah. This doesn't, I mean, this doesn't sound novel in a way. The way it's being presented makes me highly suspicious. But the mechanisms are not new.
Well, the one's daring enough to trust a dumpster diving social worker like me.
Okay. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Just a little bit. Or, well, okay, is that self... but, I mean, she's saying it in a jokey way. I don't know. Is it self... or is that plays victim? I always had a play victim... Well, see... Part of me wants to circle plays victim for the tugging of the heartstrings. I don't know. I'm indecisive at the moment. Let's continue.
Seller financing taught me that I could bank on my neighbor instead of banking on a financial institution.
Okay, so who will you go to if they don't... Wait. Banking on my neighbor instead of a financial... Okay, so is the point of this talk to be anti-bank? Is that it?
And through seller financing, we can take care of our elders in retirement while we help the next generation to become homeowners.
Really? I mean, it sounds like a panacea. Sounds like a utopian process. You know what happens when I hear someone pitching me something like that? I get a little suspicious.
Imagine the impact if only more people knew about this.
Oh, I'm sure it's a big secret. I'm sure no one talks about this. The banks don't want you to know, everybody. All right. Well, let's say for the moment, and I'm going to be hypothetical. Let's say for the moment that I believe you, that everything is just as you say. What are the risks? What are the potential downsides? Because there is no perfect system. And something like this cannot be self-perpetuating because things happen. So, you have 5 minutes left. You have to at least concede to potential pitfalls in this persuasive essay of yours.
Seller financing keeps wealth in our communities.
What are the potential downsides? What if somebody can't pay up? For whatever reason. You know? Maybe they too have encountered a medical difficulty and they have to decide where to put their money. Right? Maybe they come up short for some reason. Maybe they're just a layabout. What do you do then?
It's like a garden. To grow good quality food, we need to have good soil.
Uh-huh.
And the same is true financially. To thrive, we need to keep money in our local economy.
Okay. I'm giving each claim here a little moment to percolate in my mind. Again, this is a territory where I am not much of an expert on, if at all.
When you get a loan from the bank, that money and those nutrients leave our neighborhood soil.
They do? Okay. So if I need to buy something for which I do not have the money myself, what is the community equivalent to a bank? And if there is a community equivalent to a bank, does the community not then become the bank?
To some banker's farm in the Hamptons.
Okay.
But when we lend to one another directly through seller financing, then that money stays in our neighborhoods.
Lend? Is it lending without interest? Because that again, somebody tell me in the chat or otherwise. So far, she's talked about how seller financing, you keep all the interest. So is everybody just gifting each other money back and forth without any expectation of a payoff? Is that it?
Together, we can redirect wealth away from Wall Street back into our communities.
What isn't that a community bank then? Am I losing it here?
So,
a needle pulling thread. Advocates Diabli, she leaves out vital context. When you get money from a bank, you actually infuse the local economy with money. Well, that, at least in the periphery, that was my understanding. But either way, like, if it's a community bank, if it's a bank that has the town's name on it, you know, you get a whole It's a Wonderful Life thing. It's like, well, you know, that dollar went into Mary's house and John's farm and Jerry's tractor, you know, that kind of thing. Like, what is she talking about?
if you're wondering how to get started,
do tell. How do I get started not using a bank, but creating a bank?
I'd like you to ask a different question.
Oh, please. I love asking myself questions when you're not even answering your own stated questions.
Instead,
Okay.
not how, but who.
I think the how is kind of important. Who? I don't... Is it me?
Who do you know who has equity to lend?
Oh, okay, so who is a mark I can fleece, you're asking?
Who?
Equity to lend. You mean money? Do you mean money? Or you mean like free houses?
Not how, but who.
Who?
Who do you know who has equity to lend? Who do you know who wants to retire?
Who do I know that wants to retire? How does my lending, quote unquote, lending you equity help ensure my retirement? You know what a bank has that this whole scheme doesn't? FDIC insurance.
Who do you know who believes in community?
Can't I believe in community and make use of a community bank for a loan?
Too often when we think about investing, we think about money capital.
Wait a sec. I paused too quick. I was about to laugh out loud. When we think about investing, we think about money. You ain't just whistling Dixie.
Community. Too often when we think about investing, we think about money capital. But the capital that greases the wheels of seller financing is social capital.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, no. Oh, no.
All you need is two willing people. One who has equity to lend in their property, and one who is trustworthy enough to borrow it.
Oh, trustworthy enough. I didn't hear it in the course of the story so far. Does our speaker have a realtor's license? She said she went to boot camp. Is that the same thing?
Look for people who own rental properties, people looking to downsize and retire. Anyone with equity can become a lender.
Anyone with equity can become a walking wallet for your financial dreams. Okay, and just as a pre-note, we're about 3 minutes left in this talk. If there's anybody in the chat, and again, I assume there is, and I think I'm getting some indications, anybody in the chat who has more knowledge about home financing and things like that, if you have some big headline clarifications to give us, if I've missed you saying it so far, please hold on to it until bingo time, when I've got all of my attention on one panel or whatever, because I am curious to know how much of what our speaker is saying is actually viable and how much of it is snake oil.
So,
A needle pulling thread.
how do you find a neighbor that you can bank on?
Read their mail for their bank statement and then know I have a good mark?
Well, seller financing is actually a lot like dating.
Wait, did you just say bank on? I thought we were supposed to be moving away from banks. And your grin is not comforting.
Except better, because you don't have to swipe on a pic of someone holding up a fish. Like, if you want to attract a great partner, start by becoming your best self.
Start by becoming my best self. Oh, well, hell, that's obviously an easy thing for everyone to do. My best self, where I am looking for viable targets of financial infusion.
Demonstrate responsibility.
Oh, demonstrate responsibility like, I don't know, going to school for a real degree to get a decent job instead of ending up a social worker at Starbucks.
And you may need to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your princess. But who knows, you might already know them. Oh, and don't be surprised if you fall in love with the people you meet along.
Did you fall in love with the 65-year-old Kelly? What?
And don't be surprised if you fall in love with the people you meet along the way.
This is going to some weird territory.
I started my speech today saying that I had a love story to share.
I just assumed it was between you and money.
Well, Kelly and his wife Susan and I became dear friends after I bought their triplex.
Okay. I thought you didn't buy their triplex so much as you were basically renting it or running it for them.
This year, as I was writing my book, they gave me some feedback over dinner. And I'll never forget what Kelly said to me.
I can only guess.
He said, "Now I will have known two renowned female authors."
So you do have a book to sell. Buy my book! Buy my book! Buy my book!
Said with such certainty that it brought me to tears.
Oh.
Kelly and Susan loaned me $700,000.
Wow. Let the buyer beware. Let's see. I'm circling sales pitch for product or service. Because now we know she's got a book to sell.
Back when we were only strangers. I mean, why trust me over the bank?
Yeah, it sounds like Kelly was foolish. Or there was something else going on. I don't know. Do you have an explanation for it? I don't.
Well, besides the $242,000 I will have paid them in interest, and the fact they could always take the property back if I ever stopped paying them.
So really, he could have given anyone this opportunity. And obviously, he did not know you from Adam, so to speak, before this one night encounter in a bar where you were fishing for individuals to get equity from. So what qualified you to do this again?
There is one more reason.
Okay.
Here's why.
Okay.
Kelly told me about one Christmas when he was a little boy. His family invited a friend to join them for the holiday.
In your final 2 minutes, this better be good.
She was a flight attendant, but too broke to fly home.
But Too broke to... Wait. What? Too broke to fly home. You know, I think airlines, and I'm happy to be corrected, I think airlines extend a certain level of credit to employees when it comes to flights places, especially if she was on the job at the time. I think that's kind of part and parcel with stuff. You catch a flight back to your home city. I could be mistaken, but okay.
She wanted to become an author one day.
So I'm guessing that she did, because he said, now I've known 2 female authors.
On Christmas morning, the family opened up all their gifts until it seemed like there was nothing left. That's when Kelly's mom said, "Don't worry, dear. We haven't forgotten you."
And here's the money to fly home.
And sure enough, there was one little envelope under the tree. She opened it up. Her eyes grew wide. It read, "You have 1 year off from your job to write whatever you please."
Well, how is she going to explain that gap year to a future employer? Wow, you know, Kelly's family seems ridiculously generous and frivolous with their money and finances. I got to tell you, that's something.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, the fake emotion and tearing up is not working. You might have almost gotten me the first time. It is not working the second time. Fool me once.
A dream come true. The family had a great year and they could afford to support her. They saw the value.
Lucky her. So you compare yourself to a family friend down on her luck somehow in the past of this. What is this supposed to be telling me? This tells me that Kelly and his family have ridiculous amounts of disposable income and assets. That's all I got to tell you.
Of investing in others.
Stop with the choking up voice. There are no tears following it. It looks and sounds fake.
And one of those little boys grew up to be Kelly. And that's why he invested in me.
That's why? Okay.
And this is the love story I wanted to share with all of you.
Oh man, yeah, no, I would as well find a way to emotionally make myself attached to somebody who gave me a $1 zillion opportunity with no proof of prior success and without having to work for it. Yeah, no, I'd find, you know, I would find a way. Nature finds a way.
And while I've been sharing my story on this stage, I've also been sharing our story.
What?
The story of the American people.
The story of the American people. Oh.
We all survived the banks collapsing.
We did? We did? We all survived the banks collapsing? Guys, did you hear that? The banks collapsing. All of that money lost. All of those futures destroyed. We all survived it, guys. Not a single person over stress or circumstance or sudden loss of hope for the future. Nobody! Nobody! Everyone survived, guys. There is no one or no family still today trying to make up for lost time and lost wages and lost wealth as a result of the financial crash, guys. No, it's just everything's fine. Everybody's great. Everything's still great. What are you... I don't even know why I'm wasting the breath. I have a magic button for this.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
That's like Biden saying, I didn't lose a single soldier during my tenure as president or something. We didn't lose one single soldier's life. What are you talking about? And here's the thing. Let's say, and I know it's absolutely not true, but let's say for the sake of argument, you're absolutely right. No one lost their life or livelihood or anything else after the financial crisis. Everyone was made whole, all the stress disappears, all the hopelessness was a complete fiction. Let's say that's the case. So what?
Many of us struggle to buy a home.
Why is that?
Most of us are afraid of running out of money.
Why is that?
As we get old, the truth is, we could help each other.
Oh my gosh, I got this Oliver Twist. Please, sir, can I have some more? More?
People say, be the change you want to see in the world, but
I do say that. You're right. Oh my gosh. You must know me better than I know you.
I say, why should we settle just for change when we could be making dollars?
You know, there's part of me that can kind of appreciate the unveiled mercenary nature of our speaker. I gotta, hey, you know, okay.
Well, we finance each other.
Yeah, we finance each other. Yeah, okay.
And if enough of us believed we could bank on our neighbor,
community banks. Community banks. Saving, I mean, what?
then we would change the world together.
What? Every statement just makes my brain a little bit.
Speaking of changing the world, that
Yes.
flight attendant at Christmas,
Yeah, who was this magical flight attendant? This flight attendant that couldn't afford to fly home and whined to an obviously gigantically wealthy family, I wish I had the opportunity to do the thing and the stuff and the thing. Which I'm sure that she didn't have any notion from other tales or other anecdotes elsewise that this family was known to be very generous with their friends and elsewise. I'm sure it was all completely innocent. Yeah, is this a name I would recognize?
her name was Harper Lee.
Uh-huh. So, you, who I've never heard of before, put yourself on the same level as the author of one of the greatest books ever written in America. Okay.
And she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yes, I know. Thanks. I know. Oh my gosh. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Thank you.
What? No, okay. Okay. Boy, what a roller coaster. I had no idea going into this what we were going to end up with, and I guess in a way, I wasn't disappointed. I love surprises. Okay, let's go over the bingo card real quick, and then I'll get to you guys, because I know you have a lot to say. Before I even get down to it, I'm circling, where is it now? I can't even read my own card now. I got so much stuff on there. Where did it go? Where did it go? Weightless example, non sequitur. Of everything else, putting yourself on the same scale as Harper Lee is just insane. Absolutely insane. And at no point, and she mentioned I will have known 2 female authors. At no point did our speaker even mention that she was writing a book. Did I miss that part? Anyway, let's go over the card. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. As Advocatus Diaboli pointed out, equity seems to be used more in the financial/real estate sense rather than the social ideology sense. Although there could be some crossover there. I'll leave it for now. Mind reading assumes motives. and part of me wants to say assumes the motives of the banks, assumes the motives of the prospective lenders you're going to be working with in the community. I don't know. Does that make sense? Marginalization. I'm trying to think through her stories. You could, I think it would be a reasonable thing to say that the story of her father and his being sort of effectively put out to pasture by the system could be considered marginalization on a kind of understandable, legitimate level. So I think if someone wants to push back on me on that, by all means. Patriarchy, no. Contradicts own point or fails to make argument. What was the argument? Yeah, no, I was not convinced. As a layman in this situation, I was not convinced by the argument. Also the fact that she kept saying bank, bank, bank when it comes to her neighbors and her community. And the whole idea was, well, then you're just turning your community into a bank. But we're supposed to not want banks involved. But they are, because that... Anyway, feminism, no. Attempt to coin new buzzword or buzz phrase. Well, she did reiterate the whole community plus equity plus whatever the other thing was. So that did show up more than once. So I'm going to say that as a repetitive. And that, oh my gosh, guys, if you can believe it.
Oh, won't somebody please?
Bingo. B-I-N-G-O.
Okay!
Right?
There you go. Our first bingo. Let's keep going. Let's see. Anecdote that probably never happened. You see, now I want to find out, where did Harper Lee... Hold on. See, now... Is that true? Okay. Hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go. In 1949, Lee moved to New York City and took jobs, first at a bookstore, then as an airline reservation agent. So she wasn't a flight attendant. After publishing several long stories, Lee found an agent in November of 1956. So she had published several long stories by that point. Okay, Maurice Crane would become a friend until his death decades later. The following month, at Michael Brown's East 50th Street townhouse, friends gave Lee a gift of a year's wages with a note, "You have 1 year off from your job to write whatever you please. Merry Christmas." Michael Brown was an American composer, lyricist, writer, director, producer, and performer. He was born in Mexia, Texas, or Mejia, Texas. His musical career... Okay. Okay, so Kelly Kennedy Brown. All right. Okay, so the story is true, and the guy pictured here on Wikipedia does share a resemblance with the person that she had a photograph earlier. Okay, so she found a guy who was the son of a rich and famous lyricist, publisher, musician, etc. Okay, so that story is true. The story of Harper Lee is true. I still don't buy the equating oneself with Harper Lee in that rendition, but okay, at least that is true. So if there's an anecdote that never happened, we're going to pick a different one. White supremacy, no. Collectivize his own demographic. I mean, she did talk about herself as a Gen Z at one point, or maybe a couple of points. So I think I'm safe in covering that one. Whoops, no, don't click on that. There we go. Save on that. Let's see. Self-vilification or wretchedness. You know, for as many times as she was presumably self-deprecating, it didn't sound like genuine self-deprecation. So I don't think that applies. Benevolent condescension. I'm trying to think of an I have the feeling. Well, okay, you know what it is. It was the fake crying. It was the choking up. Maybe that's not condescension, so to speak, but you know, Yeah. Or maybe no, you know what? I take it back. I'm circling plays victim. And here's the thing, and I want to clarify and quantify why I'm saying that. The story about her father in reality is a tragedy. The way in which she used it in this talk was, to me, disingenuous. So that's why I'm circling that one. Deceptive statistics. I don't think she ever gave us any statistics per se. And microaggressions, unconscious bias. Oh, anecdote that never happened. No, everyone survived the financial crisis. Sorry, I should have circled that one for that. Pardon me. Circling that one. And microaggressions or unconscious bias. Maybe. I could probably think of an abstraction there, but I'm going to leave that there. There's plenty of circles left, or squares to be circled. Guys, if you have arguments for squares to be circled, put them in the chat now. If I've missed your argument, please just repost it. I'm scrolling up a bit, and if I miss it, just please repost it. I'm not intentionally skipping you. Suzanne Oliver Richard, that isn't profit, by the way, not saying that's low on that end. Okay. Let's see. Advocacy assumes rich people were bad, poor people good. I mean, it does assume a moral test. Yeah. Okay, I'll keep that one here. You don't trust her implicitly prescribed? No, for some reason, if I had $700,000 burning a hole in my pocket, even I would be a little bit skeptical of someone I just met in a bar after I've had a few drinks, as to whether or not I'd hand them such a largesse as a $1 million opportunity that anybody could make something out of with minimal effort. Advocates Diaboli failed to make a point, or well, she did, but is find a rich person looking to retire who does not need the money today. That is such a unicorn. Maybe 4 people total could do this. Yeah, and she found someone who obviously didn't need the money. He owned how many? He was already a real estate tycoon and a lawyer. He wasn't. His retirement was set, unless, of course, his lifestyle was just so grandiose. But either way, that's just ridiculous. Mike R., anecdote that never happened. The flight attendant couldn't fly home for free. Yeah, well, I mean, at least that part of the story was inaccurate. Harper really wasn't a flight attendant. She was a travel agent, effectively, a reservation agent. So, anyway. Advocates Diablo goes for white supremacy. Uh-oh, she wants to prevent the banks from making money, which I take to mean she hates Jews. Nothing in that talk led me to that conclusion, but thanks, Advocatus. Theater? I like to go to the theater. I got my I got my southern relatives suddenly talking in my ear. Theater wench ginger. This was not hard to fact check. Lazy speaker. Fair enough. Hands up, don't shoot to the Michael Brown. This is a different Michael Brown. Different Michael Brown. GD, SOB. There wasn't an available cry closet on the plane for her to be a flight attendant. Oh. Let's see. Susannu did learn one thing today. I mistakenly thought Harper was a dude. Oh, really? No, indeed. Harper Lee was female. She was friends with Truman Capote. She actually helped him out, or was part of the initial sort of like cheer squad for him to write In Cold Blood. So, yeah. Let's see. Scribelite failed to make a point. Oh, you did this one. Let's see. Deceptive statistics. Not all money goes up to the top 3 richest people in the country. Oh, right. She said it. Yeah. Is that statistics or anecdote? I don't. Does that enough to qualify as statistics? That feel like a statistical argument. Deceptive statistics. 100% of people survive. Yeah. I was looking for like charts or graphs or something a bit more. If she says percentages, she never said percentage. I'm going to be a little stingy on that one. Shadowcat. Bias against capitalism and financial institutions. Okay, now again, and you're not wrong in what she said, Shadowcat, but I've had to make this clarification before. The question isn't whether or not the speaker possesses biases or exhibits microaggressions. The question is, are unconscious biases, microaggressions, are they a part of the presentation? Are they elements used by the speaker in making their argument? Do they bring up biases? Do they bring up microaggressions? Or something that can reasonably be extrapolated to that? Not that they possess them or showcase them themselves, but whether it's a part of their argument. So that's the clarification I make. Now, if you've got an example of something that she said that I missed, or it could be reasonably, taken to be an argument using unconscious bias and so on, by all means. Simon Wilkins, finally caught up. Did anyone check the Discord? Why? What's on the Discord? Something happened on the Discord? Speaking of the Discord, if you'd like to join the Discord, I will handle that momentarily. Pissed Off Shih Tzu, you do not need a license to buy property. You need a license to represent other people. Yeah, I would think that in the course of this, if she's going to be acting as an agent for her benefactor in giving him hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest and etc., I would assume she'd have to be licensed. Again, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm incorrect. I don't know. Let's see. Daryl Liddell. She added equity to her equation after the fact. Not sure if that qualified as a statistics, but it was definitely deceptive. It doesn't qualify as a statistic, but no, I don't think so. Resolute Germ. That's the scam. The $700,000 never changed hands, just the property. $700,000 in resources? I don't know. Frost Guy's mind reading. She assumes all successful capitalists are immoral or malevolent. Okay, in her defense, I don't know. Was she saying that the rich capitalists were immoral, or that the system itself was immoral? That's kind of what I got, is that there was an imbalance in the system, that her hard-working father ended up with nothing when he needed it. But that the capitalist pigs in the world get everything for doing nothing, or something like that. So, I mean, I guess capitalist pig is the other one, but yeah. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page is all. Let's see. Not all money. Yeah, right. You said that one before. Yeah, I know. Faustonia, sorry I had to mute the last 30 minutes. Relative on the phone. So, what did I miss? Quite a bit. Angela Arriaga, did Harris in To Kill a Mockingbird... Oh, sorry, Dill Harris in To Kill a Mockingbird was actually based on Truman Capote. Oh, I did not know. Dill. Well, there you go. There's nothing new under the sun except the history you don't know. Okay. Wouldn't her license be a matter of public record? It could be. I mean, but the thing was, she said she went to real estate boot camp, but I don't know if that as well meant that she got a license or something. So, Abdicas Bailey, she said, be a bad rich person or a good poor person. That's definitely mind reading. Okay. All right. You've convinced me. You know, it's not a matter of just berating me until I give in, but, you know, all right. Any other arguments, guys, that I missed or elsewise? Yeah, she said her choice was dumpster diving, be a terrible, greedy person. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Susanna, every state handles the requirement differently, and I don't know how Nevada handles it. True enough. And we didn't get any clarification from our speaker, so I'll just have to circle. Did I already circle leaves out vital context? Yeah, so leaves out vital context. Anything else, guys? Last call. Money the top 3 richest people is definitely a stat. I don't know. I don't know if I want to take someone's hyperbole as a stat. Because, like I say, when someone says, did you know that 45% of prisoners are female? That's sexism or something. That, to me, is a deceptive statistic. Someone giving a glittering generalization without a percentile attached to it doesn't really feel like a deceptive statistic. It sounds like somebody being hyperbolic. So again, I don't want to soften what qualifies as a deceptive statistic. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that. Same thing as clarifying about microaggressions or unconscious bias, or what constitutes a list. So I think, unfortunately, it's just a bridge too far on that one. That statement I don't take as a statistic. I take it just as argumentative hyperbole, which may or may not be valid depending on the circumstances. So no, if she said that, if she gave us a percentile or something, if she gave us something that sounded more like she was quoting actual reality rather than just generalization, I'd give it to you. But I'm going to be stingy on this one. I'd be stingy on this one. So, that being said, of course, if you have an argument elsewise, you can always put it into the comments below or over on the Discord server. Did you guys know I have a Discord server? Well, if you didn't know I have a Discord server, let me tell you, I have a Discord server. Did I pre-prepare a link to the Discord server? I didn't, but now I have. And so now in the chat, if you'd like to join the Discord server, there's a Discord server link in the chat right now. Just click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you actually watched the stream, are not a bot, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is community. Just say hello, community, and I'll know that you watched the show. Outside of that, tomorrow, 9 a.m. or 9:05 a.m., pardon me, Pacific time, noon 05 p.m. Eastern time, I should be, unless circumstances prevent me, but you should go watch anyway, a panelist on Midnight's Edge in the Morning, where I'm sure we'll talk about the new Dracula movie that apparently is coming out, and probably new Fantastic Four news and other things going on in the entertainment world. We'll take a look at that tomorrow on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. And then Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, will be the next episode of Dog, Cat, Fox, and Friend, where I'm the friend and Dog, Cat, Fox is the Dog, Cat, Fox. Wowie, wow, wow. And we'll be talking about different news stories over the course of the week that I found interesting. There's plenty of stuff that happened today, actually, that I'll be talking about on Saturday. What else? Oh, yes, if you haven't already, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share if you haven't already shared, because that's the YouTube thing to do. And elsewise, I think that's all the good stuff. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated, either to myself or, guys, top of the chat box, the fundraisers for Twisted Skipsters Wrestling Club and Angela Arriaga's home-based business. Please take a look at those, and if you can donate, please do so, but at least share them out on social media. Otherwise, everyone, thanks for coming. Hope you have a good rest of your Thursday. Hope you have a good Friday ahead of you and weekend as well. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.